July is upon us, which means summer is here. Time for fun, sun, and who am I kidding? I'm gonna be sitting inside playing video games all day, and there are 5 upcoming games this month that I'm really looking forward to. How's it going, everybody? Force here, and I wanted to share with you a new series where I took a look at upcoming games every month that I'm excited about. If you know anything about me, you know I like to try different games, have new experiences, and I would just like to sort of share my thoughts on upcoming titles that I think look pretty interesting. So without further ado, let us jump into the top 5 upcoming games for July 2016. Now, these are in no particular order. These are just the 5 games I'm looking forward to. Let's go ahead and start things off with Inside, a survival adventure game that is set in a dystopian world and from the developers of Limbo. They've taken a lot of what they worked on in their first big indie title and really expanded upon it. Mechanically, it's a rather simple looking game. You just move your character through the environment, try to avoid dangers, and uncover the mysteries and the story behind this universe. Now, it appears like it's going to be a game that's more about that experience and the story that's being told than it is about sort of mechanical complexity and game systems. Sort of similar to a game like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which to this day is one of my favorite gaming experiences ever, but it was a short 2-hour romp, and I've heard that Inside is a similarly short game at about 4 hours. Now, it was released not too long ago on console to rave reviews, although I've been trying to avoid reading those as I want to experience this game fresh for myself. And if it holds true that this is just like a bigger, better version of Limbo, sign me up, I'm on board. Next up, we have Necropolis, a third-person action procedural dungeon delve is how this game is described. You fight your way through hordes of enemies as you go deeper into the procedurally generated Necropolis, uncovering its mysteries. The combat is heavily inspired by games like Dark Souls, this action combat with a multitude of weapons offering different fighting styles, a stamina system, dodging, parrying, and enemies that have attack patterns you must learn. There's also different playable characters that offer unique bonuses, like a character with more health, more endurance, and more speed. The game has roguelike mechanics in that it features permadeath, so this makes those long runs further into the Necropolis all the more tense, as any one mistake will spell your doom and having you start over from the beginning. It's really a game that's about mastering the combat and the systems so that you can push further and further. I really like the look of the game, and having played it a few times at conventions, I can tell you I enjoyed it, even though it is a rather simplistic looking game. I'm excited to see the full release, and I'm also excited because it has 4-player co-op, so maybe I can drag some of my friends into this and we can all suffer together. Moving on, our next game is We Happy Few, a first-person stealth survival adventure game. This takes place in the 1960s in an English town by the name of Wellington Wells. That sounds familiar. Where the citizens are on a drug called joy, keeping them all blissfully ignorant to the horrors taking place around them. You'll be playing as a character trying to escape this lifetime of cheerful denial by either blending in, sneaking around, or fighting your way out of town. You'll need to survive by filling your basic needs like hunger, thirst, and sleep. You'll also be scavenging and crafting to create tools for survival, and then learning how to interact with the members of society by either stealth, sneaking in with conformity, or by combat. The game has permadeath and features procedural generation, offering different experiences on every playthrough, and also has multiple difficulties and game modes. Now, We Happy Few was a game that when I first saw it, I didn't expect it to be a procedurally generated combat survival stealth game. Not at all. I thought it was going to be a linear adventure given its sort of sharp and distinct art style. So I'll be really interested to see how they do procedural generation and if the game holds up with the way that it looks and the way that it plays. Everything about it sounds actually kind of interesting to me, which is again why it made it on this list. Moving on to Obduction, the spiritual successor to Myst. There might be many of you who aren't familiar with Myst, but this was a game that kind of defined my childhood experience in PC gaming. A grand adventure through a mysterious world with many wonders to uncover. Old man Force, yeah, I know. Much like Myst, in Obduction, you'll be going through this mysterious and unfamiliar world. You must explore, solve, and make choices that will determine the outcome of your adventure. So yes, this does appear to be a game that has multiple different endings depending on how you play through it. The game looks absolutely gorgeous with an enticing environment that I'm really looking forward to exploring. You know, in games nowadays, it's really hard to find a title like this, and there may be a good reason for that, but I'm glad they still exist. I spend most of my gaming time fighting enemies and surviving and in multiplayer, so a little bit of exploration and adventure is kind of a welcome change. And then finally on the list we have Below, which is actually the only title here that doesn't have a set July release date, but is scheduled to come out this summer. so we're expecting it either this month or the next. Below is a roguelike action-adventure game that's all about exploration and survival. You make your way deeper and deeper into the heart of this mysterious mountain, and the further you go, the more dangerous things become. The game is played from a zoomed-out, top-down perspective as a means of adding emphasis to the size and scale of the world, and combat is of the hack-and-slash variety. You can wield an array of weapons with different attack patterns to combat your enemies. There's also scavenging and crafting as you'll collect objects in the environment and try various combinations of these things to make new items. There's a heavy emphasis on this light mechanic. You can use a lantern or torch to uncover enemies, discover traps, or mysteries in your environment. I played this one at PAX as well, and I really enjoyed my time with it. The environment, the scale, the soundtrack, the mechanics, I thought were all really interesting and immersive. Even though I was surrounded by hundreds of thousands of people on the show floor, sitting there in front of this game, I was really in it. I was really immersed. So I'm looking forward to this release. I'm looking forward to all these releases, which is why they're here on the list. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, this is something that I'm hoping to do once a month to talk about these upcoming games, the ones I'm looking forward to, and maybe share with you some that you didn't hear of before, or at the very least give my thoughts and opinions on them. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.